If you are watching this video on YouTube, then I'm going to assume that you've seen the internet, and that means I can also assume that you've seen Danhausen. If you're somehow watching this video some other way, then something incredibly odd has happened, and that's fine. This is a video about Danhausen after all. Danhausen is a wrestling phenomenon. He is somehow one of the most popular wrestlers of all time, even though he hasn't had significant time on television or pay-per-view events for any of the prominent wrestling companies. He has sold more merchandise than the most active and popular big-name wrestlers, even during years where he has not been actively wrestling. Everyone simply loves that Danhausen. For many, it's the image. Danhausen has a timeless, iconic look that lends itself very well to all kinds of merchandise and branding opportunities. This is such an important aspect that Danhausen has trademarked his face paint, and this is notable since, as far as we know, he's the only wrestler who has ever trademarked his physical appearance. There is only one Danhausen, and there can be only one Danhausen. For others, it's the infinitely repeatable Danhausen catchphrases that can be worked into any internet post or meme that you may want to create about our mischievous grappler. Very nice, very evil, adding Hausen to the end of anything and everything. Human monies. The list goes on, and it's always being added to. As I can tell you from firsthand experience, Danhausen is a master of improv and is constantly adding and expanding his lore anytime anyone puts a camera on him. In this video, we will explore the history of Danhausen both before and after his run in All Elite Wrestling, and we'll look into what the future may hold for the 6'7", 300-pound wrestler who hails from someplace far away.
I've been telling people on this channel to subscribe, and they won't.
Yes?
What can we do about that? Can you help me out? Maybe if you tell them to subscribe, they'll do it.
Threaten them. I'll threaten them
Yeah,
for you.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. You don't have to do it till you're cursed. Yes, also bonus, sign up for Danhausen's Whatnot. You get a bunch of wonderful, exclusive Danhausen merchandise for auctions, or buy it now sometimes. Whatnot.com/lovethatdanhausen. Give me money.
Okay, so my first question is, are you trained?
Yes, but of course. I'm not just wandering about wrestling with no experience. Taz trained me.
Oh, okay. So you ran into him in the Red Hook section of Brooklyn, New York?
Yeah, 1983. I've been trained since.
Okay, so talk to me about that first meeting. You're walking down the street, you bump shoulders with Taz.
And he goes, Danhouse, good to see ya. That's what he said.
So he had known of your reputation before this as a street fighter?
Oh, but of course.
So,
he's on the mean streets of Jersey. We saw each other, where he's from. And he said, I think you're good at wrestling, so let's go do it. And then we did, and now I am the champion.
Wow, that was so simple. So you started training with Taz, and then he obviously said, "Oh, I guess you're ready."
Then I went up the list, kind of like Mortal Kombat style or whatever it is.
The true origin of Danhausen is unknown, maybe even to himself. From what we can gather, the being known as Danhausen exists on two levels, the surface level and then what lies underneath. On his surface, Danhausen is most commonly a light-hearted being who is single-minded in his pursuit of human monies to fund whatever fixation he may have at any given moment, be it blimps or roller coasters or erecting massive effigies of himself. Danhausen does as Danhausen pleases, and he sees himself as a much more powerful being than he actually is. Danhausen claims to be over 6.5 feet tall and over 300 pounds, but he clearly is not. Danhausen also believes himself to have the ability to curse people. This has never been definitively proven as a power that he possesses. Danhausen will constantly make outrageous claims that are sometimes actually true, but often they are clearly false or at least great exaggerations. Still, I would not say that Danhausen is a liar, more that he simply exists in a world of his own creation that he completely buys into without question. Under the surface, deep within the entity known as Danhausen, there is in fact something more, something very dangerous, and something very evil. It is unknown exactly when or how this very evil presence possessed Danhausen, but there was a time almost 10 years ago when Danhausen would wrestle without his signature face paint and strange mannerisms. And although he was having good matches, he didn't feel he would ever break through. Depressed, he would consider ending his professional wrestling career. In a way, he did. Donovan Danhausen would disappear, and what emerged after was nothing like what he had been before.
Danhausen, are you a demon?
No. Let me explain this. I think people get confused why Danhausen doesn't like swearing. Because swearing will get you taken off of the air. The television air. Yes, in the locker rooms, and usually the rules say no swearing, no middle fingers, which is a finger swear. And Danhausen needs to be on every single TV, every single internet output to become the most famous intergalactic celebrity there is. So Danhausen not tolerate swearing in his match because it'll get taken off the air and then he won't be seen by millions.
Who was your favourite wrestler?
Conan O'Brien.
When did he do the wrestling? That's the question I'm asking.
He wrestled Cassandro.
Oh,
During,
is that the Mexican?
Yes, one of his famous skits.
Donovan, you are a professional wrestler, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, now help me, because I know of a type of professional wrestler that has a character, and I don't know, are you a professional wrestler who's really wrestling and using wrestling moves and it's not that fun to watch, or are you a wrestler who's also kind of a performer and has a character?
I am a character. Actually, I have a picture if you want to see it. It's
oh
that's
my God.
me.
Okay. Well, we are a podcast, so I'm going to describe it.
Yeah.
You're sort of demonic looking. You just showed me a picture of what looked like a very fierce, evil, demonic wrestler.
Yes. So I go by the moniker "Very Nice, Very Evil" because nobody likes somebody who's too evil. So I introduce the nice part of it, so then they buy into it and I can trick them.
Okay. Very nice, very evil.
Often I get described if a demon possessed you, actually.
Oh, a demon possessed me.
If Conan O'Brien was possessed by a demon, that's what it gets described as, because I'm heavily influenced by you rather than other wrestlers. Yes.
You mean of the wrestlers, I'm the one that's influenced you the most?
Yes, of course.
That's fantastic. Describe then a demonic Conan O'Brien as a wrestling character. What are you using? Some of my moves? Is it my attitude? Does your character have sort of little beady eyes and thin lips and sharp cheekbones?
Yes, yeah. I don't have the height, but I have. I pour teeth in my opponent's mouths to disorient them.
Pour what in their mouth?
Human teeth.
You pour human teeth into the mouth.
Amazing.
I love how people see that and go, "Oh, that is so Conan."
That is.
No. It's just, I think it's the presentation, because I take a lot of like Simpsons references and references from you and just 80s horror movies, and I pull it all together because these are the things that I like. So I included it into the character because wrestling should be fun.
Yes, wrestling.
I'm just saying,
It shouldn't be work.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. One of your standard moves is to pour loose teeth into the mouth of your opponent to confuse and disorient them. What are some of your other moves?
Kick him right in the mouth. I have the go to sleep, which I call the good night Hausen. I add Hausen. My wrestling name is Danhausen, and I add Hausen to everything to make it all about me.
That's very Conan.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very nice, Matt. Yeah. I love that. You just add a Hausen to things. So good night Hausen is like a good night move.
Yes, and I pop them up off my shoulders and I knee them in the face. That's my finishing.
Well, you knee them in the face Hausen.
The face, yes, exactly.
Sorry.
Like if I were talking to you, I'd call you Conanhausen. I add Hausen to the end of anything.
This is fantastic. I'm delighted by you. I'm delighted by this foolishness and that you've, like me, dedicated your life to absolute idiocy.
All right, and now a word from our very nice, very evil sponsors.
This fellow behind the camera is asking Danhausen questions that he should know. Danhausen's very famous, very evil. Everyone knows who Danhausen is. Everyone loves that Danhausen. Why are there two cameras on Danhausen and all these lights? What are all these lights? It's an interrogation of some sort. Who's this?
The story about Ring of Honor is that he got this match at Final Battle 2020. And if he wins this match, he'll get a contract with Ring of Honor.
Okay.
So we already have a pretty good story for his debut. Right. Far better than his AEW story. With AEW, he's just like, he shows up, he curses Adam Cole, and then like the next thing we know, he's all elite, and then he has no matches. I mean, that's not very thrilling. And there's really no stakes. This has such big stakes. Instantly, and he's got a great guy to work against. Are you familiar with Brian Johnson?
I am not. I've never seen him before in my life, to be honest with you.
All right. I don't know much about Brian Johnson either. He seems very talented, but he's also playing a character. Brian Johnson's character is that he hates the internet wrestling community.
And I want every one of you fat slobs sitting at home, living off your mom's rent, thinking you know wrestling because you listen to a damn podcast.
Great build-up, great story already. The characters clash right off the rip. I mean, this definitely screams like big event, big pay-per-view kind of matchup.
The presentation is more supernatural tinged. It's less comedy. In AEW, they leaned into the comedy, and it's got this kind of like goofy Willy Wonka sounding song. Here in Ring of Honor, It's got like a theremin. It's like a horror movie sounding song, which gives him a little bit more of a serious vibe. It's still comical, but there's more of a sense that something sinister lies underneath. He breaks the fourth wall because he's going around the ring and he looks at the camera and he's talking to the camera. He's like, I don't know what this guy is. I don't know what's going on here. Who are you? Right? He can talk to the camera. So he has like, now he has another layer to his character. He's almost like a Deadpool kind of situation where he can break the fourth wall. He's aware of the audience. All wrestlers do this from time to time, but it just hits a little bit different with Danhausen.
Okay.
He's addressing the camera at times where you wouldn't normally address the camera. Danhausen just gets his ass kicked. Right. He just gets it handed to himself. He's clearly the underdog. Brian Johnson, while he's whooping on him, grabs the microphone.
Hey, Danhausen! Look at all your fans at home that you're letting down. All those fat sausage fingers pounding the keyboard, thinking you're better than me. I am an equal opportunity ass whooper.
No swearing.
Danhausen's finish in Ring of Honor was a good Nighthausen, and the setup to that is the jar of teeth. So he puts the jar of teeth, puts it into the opponent's mouth, because you can't get disqualified, because you can't get they already have teeth in their mouth.
Already teeth in there, baby.
Sorry, teeth in there. That's the logic, and that's the sound. I can't discredit it. And then he hits him with the good Nighthausen. The teeth go flying. It's actually the best version of the GTS, isn't it? If we're being honest.
With the visual, yeah, the teeth everywhere. Yeah, that's great.
It's great. But here, Brian Johnson, he subverts it. He gets the jar of teeth and he pours it into Danhausen's mouth.
That's another great story element. Doing something to take away somebody's finish. You'll see it a lot where like they'll either target the body part that's needed to do it, or they'll like outright ban the move. So by taking his teeth, you take the legs out. Now people are, what does Danhausen have left? Like your finisher's completely turned off, and it adds a whole new level of drama to the story.
He grabs the microphone while the ref is still down. He rubs the microphone on his face to get some of his face paint on it, hands the microphone to Brian Johnson, falls to the ground and grabs his head. The ref gets up and he sees him laying on the ground, and he disqualifies Brian Johnson. Danhausen gets the win, and he's got the contract signed.
That's the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. He rubbed his face paint on the microphone.
So it's clear that he was dinked with it.
That's so good.
Right? I mean, this match is actually a work of art.
That sounds like an amazing match. I have to go find this now.
The whole thing is brilliant. It happened in front of no people in 2020 on Ring of Honor that no one was watching, because what happened at Ring of Honor was in 2018, they basically were AEW. The first All In was a Ring of Honor event.
Right.
In 2019, all their major draws, their contracts were up, and they all signed contracts with AEW. They founded the company, the Young Bucks, Cody, Best Friends, SCU. All their big names went to AEW, and all the top signings did not sign, that the people would have signed with Ring of Honor. They signed with AEW instead. Who was left in Ring of Honor? Marty Scurll, and we got a video about what happened there. If you want to know more about what happened to Marty Scurll, make sure you check out that video on the channel and like and subscribe. And if you'd like to see more videos like this one, the best way to do that is to subscribe and ring that bell a few times until it turns solid. Apparently, if you just click it once, it's not good enough. Why isn't it good enough? I don't know. It doesn't seem fair, does it? What can I say? YouTube can be pretty unreasonable when it comes to these things. And here's the sad truth. Even if you subscribe and ring the bell until it promises to alert you when new videos drop, it probably still won't. So what will you need to do if you like this channel and you want to see all the videos released here is to go and get a 4x6 postcard and write to YouTube directly. Tell them that you very much like the videos on the Mr. Hartgrave from Parts Unknown channel, and please, please, please notify me when new videos drop. Short of that, my best advice would be to simply come back once a week and click on the videos tab on the channel and see what I posted this week and watch all the videos you haven't seen. Trust me, they're all super good. Especially that 1 hour video on Will Ospreay that totally didn't break my brain and leave me a broken shell of the man I used to be.
PCO, how are you doing today? You are going to win, Danhausen and yourself, championships for the first time.
2 good reasons.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, Danhausen got you a job at Ring of Honor, so that's reason number 1. Number 2, glad you asked. Hit the gate. Yes. Oh, there you go, your power. And now, you have the juice, or whatever may have you. We can go win those championships.
We got to talk about the bad booking of Danhausen in the video, because it all started right here, and this was bad. This went nowhere.
It didn't get much better after that either.
There was no feud between Danhausen and Adam Cole. The fuck was the point of this?
There wasn't one. They needed a debut on the card.
Nothing. Yeah. We need to do a... Well, this was on a Dynamite.
Oh, my God.
This wasn't even a pay-per-view. It's just a Dynamite. I mean, he got a pop. It got the internet talking. I guess it did that, but like... it seems like Danhausen was just hired to pop the internet.
Imagine if they did it right, how hard the internet would have popped, instead of just throwing him into a random match that he had no involvement in.
You think?
Hook is eating chips. He likes chips a lot. So, Danhausen has brought you chip. Maybe you ought to bring a new chip every single week. It'll be a nice time.
Danhausen has simply never had a notable All Elite Wrestling singles match. First teaming with Hook under the Hookhausen moniker, and then with Orange Cassidy, Danhausen would mostly perform in multi-man tag and battle royale matches. Most notably, it was during the 10-man tag match during the Full Gear 2022 0-hour pay-per-view buy-in show that Danhausen would appear, but in a more altered, darker form. The Danhausen that you see, the funny guy, that's like a mask that the demon that has possessed Donovan wears. And if you piss off Danhausen, there's a very evil, very nice, very evil isn't just a catchphrase. It's actually part of the character. You normally see very nice Danhausen. And if you do something wrong, if you cross the line, maybe you curse too much, I don't know, you get the very evil Danhausen. And he comes out with a different look. He has different face paint. He's a different character altogether. He has different music. He has different powers. He actually wrestles different.
I've never seen this other side before then.
He came out once in AEW. He doesn't come out often. He uses them sparingly. It's like Jushin Liger when you take his mask off.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I
like
mean?
The Finn Balor demon thing.
It's like the Finn Balor demon before they played it out.
Yeah, before it became a fucking trope.
It just became a thing that happened all the time. So it's genius. It's the part of Danhausen that I like the best, quite honestly, is that there's this little secret. This guy's funny, but he'll also, stomp a mud hole in you if things on a certain night, and you don't know when it's going to happen. What I like is there's no lead up when it happens. You got a match with Danhausen. 9 times out of 10, it's the funny guy Danhausen, and the 10th time, it's very evil Danhausen, and you are screwed.
Hell yeah, I love that so much.
It's awesome. I mean, very evil Danhausen can take the world championship.
He's a force.
Straight up, like out of 100, he's 100. Power levels out of there. It's 9,000. And he shows up with a spike too. He's got like a railroad spike in his hand when he comes out as very evil. Danhausen would make his AEW main card pay-per-view debut in March at Revolution in 2023, teaming once again with Orange Cassidy against the Acclaimed, the Guns, who were the tag team champions at the time, and the team of Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. The Guns would retain, but most would agree that this match, while basically a setup for the return of FTR, was a fun watch and a nice stop before the main event of the night. Unfortunately, Danhausen was injured during this match and would not appear again until the end of the year.
So, Danhausen, I think the big mystery here is, where were you most of 2023? And
what does your AEW future look like? Danhausen is going to step on anyone who gets in his way. This is the Spike Tour 2024, Danhausen's tour. Danhausen will be on top of AEW, no matter who he has to step on. That's right, you're all cursed.
Mysterious promos would begin to air in October, implying that Danhausen would return soon, so it was rather surprising to everyone when he did not.
Everybody's been buzzing. We've seen the videos. Very, very, very nice. Well, sing no more. The moment is upon us, ladies and gentlemen. The return of Danhausen.
No. I've made a mistake. It is actually next week. Sorry.
Well, there you have it. Next week, the return of Danhausen.
Thank you.
Finally, 1 week later at the end of November, Danhausen would return to AEW and have 2 matches. The first would see him participate in an 8-man tag team match on Rampage, and the second would be as an entrant in a Battle Royale match at World's End at the end of December, and then he was never seen again. Until he was in Ring of Honor for one match that many don't even know happened, and then he was truly never seen again. Until he was in GCW, where he would win the Game Changer Wrestling World title that he would then get screwed out of by Matt Cardona.
Referee, restart the match. We're not going to have a new world champion be a foreign object on the first night of the Cardona era. Ring the bell!
What?
Ring the bell!
It's GCW. You can use weapons in GCW.
Pardon my French.
Oh, that's bullshit. Blake Christian with the Gucci bag, connecting with Danhausen.
We can say poor Danhausen, but he did get a huge career bump from being in AEW.
Oh, yeah.
As bad as they did with him, in my opinion, and in most people's opinion, and anyone with eyes and a brain's opinion, they did very poorly with Danhausen. But as soon as you appear on AEW as a wrestler, your value like doubles or quadruples.
Oh, yeah. He's one of those few wrestlers that I feel like if and when he moves on, he got better even from the minimum amount of time he was on TV. Like, not many people that you knew beforehand that came over to AEW are going to leave AEW better than when they came in, but he's one that is going to leave and just go off to the races somewhere, wherever that might be.
Yeah, because he did a bunch of independent stuff. I mean, he kind of became king of the indies there for a minute. Like right around when he stopped being booked in AEW, he decided, let me just go get as many opportunities on the independent scene as I can, and he had a lot of them. He just picked up some tag titles with PCO.
Really? I didn't know about that one.
Yep, they just won them like a couple days ago.
For that franken-salt. What sort of an unholy alliance are we seeing here with PCO Danhausen? We've got new champions! Danhausen and PCO are now the IWR World Tag Team Champions.
Very nice. Very evil, very champions. Danhausen and PCO are now the tag team champions.
Alright, like, subscribe, and watch another video, or be cursed. If you're cursed, that means the grave diggers will keep digging your graves. So, you probably want to do it.